words about these strikes, and other companies like Home Depot, Lowe's, IKEA are also being heavily affected as well. And I've also compiled a list of over 40 different items that are going to be affected by these strikes and we could potentially see shortages from. So let's get into the details here really quick, guys. Please just hit that like and hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news, and it just helps get these warnings out. I appreciate that. So this strike is officially happening, and I have compiled a list. I've been doing some research, and I found over 40 different items. It's about 45 different items that are going to experience shortages from these ports being shut down and from the strike happening. All right, and Walmart and Costco have also issued warnings as well, saying that they are ready for this to last until the end of the year. Walmart and Costco have their stockpiles ready and prepared to go all the way to the end of 2024. So they're prepared for major disruptions to happen, and you should be stocked up as well too. So let's get into these 40 plus items really quick. I'm just going to read them off for you guys so you guys can potentially get stocked up on these things if you need it. All right, so just starting off here: seafood, shrimp, salmon, cod, bananas, cherries, mangoes, dates, figs, avocados, pineapple, fruit juice. All right, all the stuff comes in through our ports, and it's actually, some of it's actually sitting at the ports right now. There's reports that the docks in Florida, there is food rotting there right now. Food is sitting on the docks in Florida. Fruit and seafood is sitting there and it's rotting. All right, so this is happening across the country right now. Food is sitting there and it's going to waste, right? Pineapples, fruit juice, apple juice, 80% of which comes from overseas, 80% of our apple juice, and a lot of these fruit juices come from overseas, all right? Chocolate is going to be affected. Coffee, a lot of the coffee comes from overseas. Most of these, even if you're supporting a smaller coffee brand, a lot of them use coffee that's coming from a different country. That's just the industry. Artificial Christmas trees and also holiday items, right? We could see shortages on any type of Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas items coming into the future, right? A lot of retailers have stocked up, but these things are going to be harder to get as time goes on, especially if these strikes are prolonged. Cars, beef, steak, pork, cheese, alcohol, rum, vodka, electronics, cell phones, computers, toys, Legos, right? A lot of these things are just coming from overseas. All the phones we have, even the iPhones, right? Apple's a American brand, but all their manufacturing is overseas, most of it in China. Some of it's actually in India now, and a few other countries, all right? But primarily in China. So that's coming in the West Coast, right? And a lot of these Android phones are coming in the West Coast too. So hopefully those won't be too heavily affected, but they will be affected to some capacity, all right? Toys like Legos, they come from overseas in Europe. My son loves those, all right? So that might be an issue for him. Even the kids are being affected by this, all right? Pharmaceuticals, vitamins, ibuprofen, chemo drugs. This is getting serious. Most of these medications come from overseas, all right? Most of these serious medications that people need and rely on, it's not manufactured here anymore, right? Which is a national security risk in itself. All right, chemo drugs, insulin medication and insulin drugs, Ozempic, anti-rejection drugs for transplants, all right? That's a major one. If we can't get these drugs on, what are we gonna do? Metal parts, die-cast parts, car parts, alternators, generators, plywood, chemicals. A lot of the plywood, you think it's wood, you think it's made here. A lot of it comes from China and overseas. It's imported from overseas, all right? Chemicals, motor oil, tools, power tools as well, all right? So that's around 45 different items right there, that 40 plus items that are gonna see shortages if this strike continues, and they're already being affected because they're already shutting things down. They've already been shutting it down the past week, getting the rail lines ready and getting the ports ready. All the retailers are preparing for this, all right? And we also have both Walmart and Costco are saying this. Walmart, which is the largest U.S. container shipper in the whole country, right? They're the largest mover of container shipments, Walmart. Makes sense, but when you really think about it, it's like, wow. So they're heavily going to be affected by this. They are saying that they have been stocking up and prepping the past few weeks to get all their inventories in. That's what Walmart is saying. And Costco said the same thing. They are saying that they have been stockpiling all their products to go to the end of the year, right? That's what Walmart and Costco have been doing, right? So they're prepared for this thing to go to the end of the year. That's what Walmart and Costco are preparing for and getting ready for. So just be stocked up. We're not going to see like mass starvation or anything like that, but we could see disruptions and we could see empty shelves on certain products, right? Shortages on certain products. And we could see more inflation pressure from this as well too. And we know how inflation is. Once things go up, they just don't really go down, right? They don't go down. And they're saying that they're stocked up on their Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas merchandise as well too, and are prepped to go to the end of the year. And we're also getting warnings from IKEA, Lowe's, and Home Depot that they will be heavily affected as well too. It makes sense. IKEA is a foreign company and all of their furniture is imported from overseas, right, from Europe specifically, so it's going to be heavily affected. Home Depot and Lowe's, also things like plywood, tools, all these things we listed here, half the things listed are sold at Home Depot and Lowe's. Generators, all these things, parts, they're all sold there, right? So if we see slowdowns and disruptions, we're going to see empty shelves at places like that as well too. So please just hit it up for me down there, guys, to help get these warnings out. I appreciate that. People need to know what's going on, and they're getting prepared. They're ready till the end of the year, right? They were not taking any risk or any chances, Walmart and Costco, because they don't want to be dealing with empty shelves at their most active time of the year, right? This is Christmas. This is like a lot of businesses get 50% of their sales this time of year. Not Walmart and Costco, all right, but they definitely get a major bump during this time of year, and they don't want to miss out on that, all right? They're depending on that revenue. And it says here, on the employment front, companies facing part shortages may resort to keeping lean inventories, and to keep costs low might have to shut down assembly lines amid a prolonged strike, according to experts that told USA Today, right? And I was telling you guys this a few days ago, that they're going to start shutting down factories because they don't have enough parts, and it's just going to be this compounding effect. And it's going to take months to unwind this whole thing if it goes on even just for a couple weeks, right? And it says here that the ports that are going to be most heavily affected are ports like Baltimore and Brunswick, Georgia, which are the two busiest automobile ports in the country. All right, so remember that Baltimore bridge situation, the Francis Scott Key bridge collapse, and that shut down all traffic to the port of Baltimore. And that was even stopping some of the U.S. military ships from leaving the port of Baltimore as well, too. Right? It was a major issue and problem. And that shut down automobiles. And it's happening again. And it could be even worse this time because it's multiple ports. That was one port, and we were seeing disruptions from that. Now it's all these different ports, 36 different ports from Maine to Texas. And it says here that Philadelphia is shut down, which gives priority to fruits and vegetables, right? New Orleans is shut down, which handles the majority of the coffee coming into the country from South America and Southeast Asia. Various chemicals from Mexico also enter the New Orleans port, and from North Europe as well.
Okay, first off, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. I also want to give a double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this word, and the brothers who teach sincerely down. I also want to give a salutations to the elect scattered across the four corners of the earth and the speckled birds. This was just going to be a quick one. We know this ports is going on. I just wanted to get in. I came across this video, Patrick Humphrey. I always watch him. I know brothers watch him. He goes into a lot of details of the reaction of this happening and the result and everything that's going to get hit. So he pretty much broke it down for you if you watched it. It'd be a huge impact on America, and can be the fall of America. It can be the start of it. This can be the start of it. Alongside of them throwing all the different pestilence and plagues on people that were created in the laboratory with scientists. So I just do what I do. I edify with the information, and I edify with precepts. So this is Zephaniah 1:10. And it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gates. And the fish gates pretty much is the ports, the imports and outports, the waters and ocean, the ships and things that's porting the goods to the destination. And howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hill. And the howling is the screaming and crying of the people, And a great crashing from the hills, meaning the hills are pretty much the top and the fall. So the inhabitants of the markets, for all the merchant people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off. And that's the marketing places, that's the businesses, pretty much what's going on with the port, the inhabitants, the merchants. The merchants, people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off. And even with money, you can have all the money in the world, be here rich in America, but doesn't mean that you can just, the only ones who's going to have access to these things cut off for the elite, or maybe some rich people. But if you're a regular person with money or whatever, you're not going to be able to eat or things just like the regular person. And there's more than just food. It's video games, it's toys. You're not going to be able to get these things, so your money's not going to be pretty much useless. If you're hungry, and money can't feed you, what's the point of having it? And you're still suffering. And this is Isaiah 13:11. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquities, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and it will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And that's pretty much these people for the wickedness, because we got to remember that what's going on is everything going on is the Lord's judgment. So for the wickedness and the iniquities, this is the judgment. The Lord's going to starve this place out. He's going to destroy this place with with thermal weapons, with plagues. The same thing that he did to Egypt back in the days he's going to do now, because this is the modern day Egypt. But I didn't really pretty much want to go into much. I just wanted to get the points out about the products and the companies and where it's hit and what ports are actually hit. And this man went really good and deep into it. So with that being said, Shalom.